let's talk about how to make products people actually give a f about. And this video isn't just about product itself, though that's a huge part. It's about brand, it's about experience, and it's about community. In this episode, Clayton and I visit the legends at Manors Golf, who not only built an amazing brand in the golf space, but have been recruited to collab and as an agency by major brands to help bring visions to reality in our new world. And we also stop by Percival, a modern menswear brand that really resonates in a crowded market. And then last, here in London, we're gonna go by Goodhood, a retail shop whose curation of products that people love across home goods, wellness, clothing, and more really shows all the little things that a product can do to stand out. We're gonna get in the weeds on collection design, launch logistics, product as marketing, brand collabs, and how all of this actually works. As always, Clayton will start with a few examples and I will end with a tactical playbook of what you can actually put to use for your own brand. Our free creative ops guide that summarizes all this is down in the description, and we're excited to go explore the corners of darkest London with you. Let's lock in. So what are some examples of brands who are using product to stand out?
Yeah, one of my favorite examples right now is Cortez, which is a London-based streetwear label. And if you look at a glance, you might think that each of their drops are driven by the hype cycles of streetwear. But if you look a little bit deeper, you'll find that each of them are rooted in this idea of belonging for the consumer. Is he launching products based on scarcity? Yeah, but he's doing it in a way that feels communal, in a way where the consumer actually feels part of the experience. From the puffer jacket and denim exchanges to his global scavenger hunts, all of his drops and releases are participatory, chaotic, and undeniably exclusive. And there's a good lesson we can learn in this, that the brand experience isn't just about the spectacle, but it's about how you include people in the spectacle itself. It's giving people a role in the experience and helping them feel like they belong.
A lot of people identify this as a streetwear concept, but now we see brands doing this across all different kinds of categories. And one I think we both talk a lot about and appreciate is how this is really built into the world of like activewear and athletics.
I mean, I think the most obvious example that we reference and like to reference is Satisfy Running and how they've turned their creative direction into world building.
And they've also been excellent at using product as marketing.
They understand how to create the vibe that people want to get on board with, whether that's their Wyoming training camp where they invite tastemakers and friends of the brand to a ranch in the middle of nowhere.
Our invites got lost in the mail.
Yeah, we were going to be invited, but they canceled. They're operating on a different creative scale from any other athletic brand that we're seeing right now. And that's because they're not just dropping products, they're building entire worlds around each drop. Every asset, whether it's a photo, video, or piece of copy, all has alignment and resonance with the greater brand strategy. There's a clear through line, and there's obviously coordination across every department, whether it's the creative, ops, marketing, design team, you name it. And regardless of category, it's really difficult to find that kind of alignment and resonance from a creative perspective.
And if that 4x4 Panda is still available to buy, then we would like to put in an offer.
You know where to find us.
But related to that, we are going to hop in the chopped off Suzuki and see what we can find in London.
Let's roll.
I'm Nick, I'm one of the co-founders at Manors Golf, and I'm the head of product as well.
Yeah, how much do you release a year? I'm curious though.
We've done 3 kind of big collections, is how we call them. So we did a spring-summer, a collaboration with Reebok in June, and then we just released our autumn-winter collection. For next year, we're gonna be a little bit more dynamic, have a little bit more of a kind of drop strategy. We see, there's such a spike on our website, there's such attraction around the brand when we do release our big collections, and we just wanna maintain that.
It's interesting to see that there are independent labels popping up in these sort of traditionally seen as country club sports.
The natural way for a lot of these kind of challenger sportswear brands is it comes from the founders playing the sport and then not really identifying with any of the brands. And that's how it started.
I think golf is a sport that really took off and peaked during COVID.
I think it's gonna get even bigger, and we're just fortunate enough that we kind of had launched and we had a following. There's so much golf content everywhere. Yeah. And I think naturally people that didn't think they would play golf or didn't know much about it in this Gen Z generation are picking it up more.
Feels like the gatekeeping's gone away too. A lot of it was like, oh, well, if you want to go golf, you have to have all this gear, you have to know these people, you have to be a member of this thing, whereas now it's more like muni clubs and then people who are like, oh, we'll take you, we'll show you the first time. It's become a lot more welcoming as a culture.
So much more welcoming. That's one of the biggest barriers to entry. So many people were just like terrified of being you know, I can't wear this, I don't want to get told off, that kind of thing. And that whole culture is changing, and they have to change. They're getting so much press from YouTube and content of people coming to their clubs, younger people, and wanting to film there and bringing people in, is that they have no choice now to then be more welcoming.
We'd love to take a look at some of the items and see what you're putting together.
Yeah, let's do it. So a collection starts with me identifying what are the products that we need to carry over into the season. So what are the best selling from the previous season? Supplementing that, we need the newness. So then it's the new product, the exciting product. And that is done very carefully with the sense of what are we missing? This print has been created by a designer. It's almost like a camo effect, but you can see it's actually golf balls and golf tees. Yeah. The fun part about my job is we think, how can we make this functional for the modern golfer? This one I'm super proud of. So this is a merino wool vest that we're bringing out for this season. Functionally, merino is the best type of knitted yarn for their natural performance qualities. We have this pocket here on the side. We launched with 10 products, which was way too much. Like, my advice for anyone who wants to start a brand is like, go into hats and t-shirts and maybe
one item,
and maybe one item, and focus on that. Do not do a widespread to begin with.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, so we are here in the heart of Hackneywick with one of the most interesting brands we feel happening in the UK, Percival.
I am Chris Gove, founder of Percival Menswear, a D2C London-based menswear label.
One of the favorite things, at least how I discovered you in the content, was you actually talk pretty candidly about like, okay, are we losing money? Are we making money? Actually showing some of that behind the curtain, being a little tongue-in-cheek about it. What made you make the decision to go down there?
One of the Percival sort of visionary brand points was that we just don't take ourselves seriously. Take the clothes seriously, but not ourselves, because to get men to dress better, you've got to be able to speak on a level. I think like when you look at the Soho customer, they're like proper menswear. There's such a bubble, but actually if you want men to dress better in general, you can't speak to them in that way.
They can't force it. They want it to feel natural. They need to be able to pull it out of the closet and be able to put it together and feel okay about it.
The two sides are like, they either talk about their clothes in terms of the spec, oh, this is X waterproof, oh, it's made by this person. They won't say, you look really, those trousers look really great on you. Yeah. You'll never get that. You'll go, oh, what's the weave? Yeah. And that's, and that's the difference. So there's that side, or just trying to be funny, or trying to be like you would with your mate.
One of the things that we've learned about the brand is that you've got a WhatsApp, and it's not something that's really preached when you're running a brand, that you can make yourself open and free, open to feedback. But I think that actually makes the proposition of the brand stronger, because people feel like they have access to something that otherwise they wouldn't get access to.
Well, the gatekeeping thing is a phrase that Terry says a lot about, how one of the value systems in here is like trying not to do that. We're just like, the more brands, the better. It like fuels the passion for menswear. There's enough customers. Maybe the battle becomes harder to try and talk to them, but that's just your job. You have to be on it. That's the job of the brand.
How do you think about your releases and putting together collections and planning that in this kind of more modern world?
I just feel like there's not many rules. It's about what your customer expects and what the culture of your brand is. So we really more manage it like a full pyramid of products, that some get special treatment and some don't, because we want your average dude to come on and be able to get the jeans and jumper, because we want to be able to provide you that all the time. We should be like your best mate who's providing you those clothes when you need them. But then the collaborations we bring in there, obviously, like, you know, much scarcer.
Speaking of collaborations, we got to get Terry's perspective.
No, let's get him. He chats more than me anyway.
One of the reasons we're excited to chat with you is just to get an understanding of the collaborative side.
All of the collaborations in this brand, they've all come from a friend or a part of the network, and they've happened, I'd like to say, organically. But I think it comes with the autonomy that Chris gives everyone and myself here, in terms of like, don't be afraid to throw shit at the wall. Like, some of it will stick, some of it won't, but the stuff that doesn't, like, let's give a go like the next year and throw it again, and when it does stick, if it's successful, it can be really, really big.
The Campari one was really interesting because it's a brand I feel like has a lot of affinity that never tapped into that side. Is that something you would want to build on and do more versions in the future, or once a collab's kind of done, it's done? How do you look at those over time?
It's difficult to sort of manage the volume versus the exclusivity and knowing how far to push it. With Champion, and we pulled it right back, and this year we haven't dropped a collaboration with them, and we've got it coming out in December this year, but the volume of it is 3 times as bigger than those 3 when we were dropping 3 times a year. Do you know what I mean? And you're sort of driving that demand. You do get a gut feeling when you see less engagement on a post. You need to go, right, I need to do something about this now, but I need to sell it into the brand, and then once they've said yes, I then need to go to Champion to then sell the new idea. Trying to get to that point isn't just, right, there's the idea, I'm going to make it happen tomorrow. There's several different steps you need to go through to get there. It's interestingly, we were chatting to Ken Sakata from Front Office, who is absolutely crushing it, right? Yeah, he's killing it. And he said, listen, boys, like, your content is competing with the Explore page, and on that Explore page is someone popping spots, is someone being pushed into a lake on a bike. What's your content going to be to compete with that, to get engagement? How cool is it? Is it relevant? And it's a constant back and forth between the whole team, actually. But trying to get it right isn't easy, and whatever the silver bullet is, if somebody knows, let us know.
There is no, we have a lot of these conversations, they're in the weeds and a lot of it, there is no silver bullet, but you're definitely thinking about it the right way.
So we are out here at Goodhood, one of our favorite independent retail shops in the heart of Shoreditch. We wanted to give you a more inside look on what a specialty retailer does with respect to curation of products. They have a really nice healthy mix of different categories, and so
let's go spend 6 hours looking at fragrance.
What you find is that the space is sort of built out to be modular. So every section has its own sort of look and feel and vibe in this greenhouse where they keep all of the skincare.
So this is just a good example of like what I feel the Gen Z millennial shopping experience is like, where you don't want to go to a place and be like, hey, it's specifically clothing, it's specifically interior, specifically home. You want to go to someone's curation. CDG Concrete, one of the OG best fragrance bottles.
Of course, you got to have the mainstay Tekla. This is a really nice, simple touch to give a customer in a retail experience where you have these different dye-colored totes.
Just doing one thing different or better than what everyone else does.
I mean, it is a small detail, but it goes a long way.
What are some of your other shops of this nature that you recommend?
They opened a store in Copenhagen while I was there for Fashion Week. It's called Stoy. And yeah, Stoy is an example of a brand, again, that just has this incredible selection of retail mixed with a place where you feel like you can go and hang out. You just get lost in the modularity of a space. And to me, that's, I think, what good retail is about at the end of the day, is creating pockets of space where people can hang out, get lost, experience something.
All right, so now we're going to go compensate for the fact that we'll likely never retire by spending money on small tchotchkes
that we don't need.
So how can you actually put all of this into practice inside your brand or in your creative work? I'm gonna talk through 3 concepts here that are gonna be super applicable. The first is gonna be a framework for actually launching and promoting products. The second is gonna talk about kind of collection design, and then we're gonna go into this concept of product as marketing. But let's actually start with the promotional aspect of this. So I like to use this framework: tease, hype, collect, launch, sustain. THCLS for short. It actually gives you a framework that you can put together when you launch a product. So tease is basically this concept that you have to lead up to whatever you're launching with giving it some mystery, with involving your customers, with getting it out there early, and actually beginning to develop a back and forth with your customer with what's actually happening. And then hype is what we all know launches to be about. How do you get as much energy going into launching something as possible? What content do you put out? What do your launch videos look like? How do you make sure that there's anticipation on what you do? But this next stage, collect, is where brands really need to focus. Often people will put out all this content and put all this time into it, but what are they really getting back? How are they preparing people for launch? How are you getting them on your email list? How are you getting into SMS? And increasingly in the brands we've talked to here, how do you get them in WhatsApp groups or get them to actual IRL experiences, even Discords? We're seeing so many brands now build beyond just your average email list into much more one-to-one and small group participation in the actual brand experience. Then there's the launch itself, maximizing on that moment, putting out lots of assets. One of the trends we're seeing now is you'll see people post way more than you would have thought possible. It used to be 1 video or 3 videos. Now you'll see someone like Wimbledon do 1,000 videos during the actual course of an event. Or you'll see someone like Justin Bieber post 45 times in a day when he's promoting his album launch. If you have an exciting moment, how can you really resonate? Whether that's through volume, through the power of your assets, or through leveraging your community. And then the last piece, and another one that's often ignored, is sustain. if you don't sell out within a few days, and a lot of brands aren't built to do that. Look at people like Percival who aren't trying to basically do some big drop that ends. They're trying to actually create a sustainable, always on brand. How do you sustain these collections over months? Are you adding in new creative? Are you adding a new ad strategy? What is that secondary phase to launch so you don't put all your attention into it and then just watch it evaporate? But if you follow that tease, hype, collect, launch, sustain framework, you're thinking about your brand's product development and launches in the right way. And this ties into this collection design idea that you heard a lot of conversation about when we spoke with Manors. And it's really important to think about whenever you're putting together your releases. Some amount of your core things you know work and sell, some amount of newness that's going to appeal to new folks, it's going to bring new people under the banner, and then this really core concept of product as marketing. Is there that viral item you can have in the collection that brings lots of attention to it? But finding that ratio of whatever it is you do, whether that's going to be collaborations if you only have a handful of SKUs, or colorway, or slowly building that lineup to what's going to attract new customers, what do I know will work, and what could potentially go viral. Making sure all that included is your framework for success. And on that product as marketing note, this is a huge thing right now. So Clayton led off in the beginning of this talking about Satisfy and their 4x4 Panda. They basically put a car at the center of one of their campaigns, but you could also purchase the car, and it likely happened. We remember District Vision did this a few years ago with a really custom bike. People are putting these fancy things that they do inside of a campaign, but also saying, hey, this can belong to a VIP customer. This can be part of the experience you can buy into. So there's this one-off product virality. But then there's the actual viral items themselves that anchor a collection. Skims is an excellent example of this. Skims will put out things like a face wrap that arguably doesn't work at all, isn't even really part of their core product, may not even sell, but it brings attention to the other things that they most recently released. And then there's putting some of those items within the collections themselves. Gustav Westman did a collaboration with IKEA, and he actually made a meatball tray as part of the interior items that they put out. It was designed, yes, for attention, but it could be an interesting or fun centerpiece inside of someone's kitchen. But this comes through actually bringing the marketing and product teams together. And you'll note in all these companies that we're talking to inside this series, those people are often sitting right next to each other. They're working hand in hand. This is the difference between challenger brands and older brands, where it's so separated that marketing can't possibly have input on product, where the social media team isn't even in the conversation. It's a lot different when they're sitting next to each other and planning those launches hand in hand. And that's exactly how you have to think. If the content isn't being planned as the product is being developed, then you're probably not really considering how things go viral in the modern era. So I hope you learned a bit about how to make products that people actually fuck with. We have a full creative ops guide for how teams actually work in this modern era and actually make those things available for download in the description. And we're excited for you to bike around London, dodging cabs with us in the next few episodes.